Hello everyone, Mini Joda here, and welcome back. Today I'll be bringing you some tips and tricks for The Last of Us, for those of you just starting to play the game. I won't be showing any spoilers, just this will be mostly focused on beginner tips for the first half of the game. No cutscenes, just a couple of gameplay footage. So without further ado, let's get started and I hope you enjoy. Okay, let's start talking about some gameplay. The Last of Us plays very similar to Uncharted 2 and 3 for those of you who have played those games. It has the same platform mechanics as Uncharted that usually involves running, jumping, climbing on walls, pulling objects, so on and so forth. It is, however, less focused on action and actually more focused on stealth. Instead of, shooting your way through waves and waves of enemies like many other third-person shooters, The Last of Us has you do actions involving sneaking in, attacking enemies from behind before they notice, avoiding encounters altogether, etc, etc. For this particular section that I'm playing right now, you do have to kill, or in this case incapacitate, depending on your choice, every single enemy so that your companions that are on the floor above can join you. The game doesn't really give you a clear indication sometimes of what you have to do, so sometimes you have to either take down everyone in the room or find an exit depending on your situation or the approach that you want to take in that particular moment. I wanted to show here an example of how to tackle a very simple room with enemies. You get to this part very early in the game, so don't worry, no spoilers. You will encounter human enemies with guns throughout the game, however in here you will be fighting the infected. I believe it's 3 runners, 1 on each side of the room, and a clicker who's in the middle. Runners are pretty much the same as the human enemies. I'll talk about the clickers later. But for now, the runners behave same as humans, except of course they don't shoot you since they don't have any weapons. They behave a lot like zombies and usually run towards you when they notice your presence, after which they will attack you by either punching or biting you. They're fairly weak to take down with any kind of weapon, really. Ideally, you don't want to fight them in a crowd, though, because they can and will overwhelm you if you give them a chance. Try to isolate them and kill one at a time if you can, which is what I try to do in this clip. This does bring me, however, to the stealth mechanics, which will be my next topic of interest. Right now you see me pressing the right trigger 2 button. What that does is that it allows me to see enemies through walls, so long as you keep holding the button, of course. If you have played Deus Ex Human Revolution, you'll remember Smart Vision, the augmentation. This works very similar to that if you've used it. With this, you can tell the location of your enemies and decide on your approach, based on what you see. Right now I have several choices. I incapacitated 2 runners already. I have 1 runner and 1 clicker left. My options are to either shoot them with my guns, which I decided against since that would cause too much noise. Same thing if I'm going to melee. So what I decided to do is to throw an item close to one of them so that I can lure them to me. I did this at the beginning with the first runner, which worked great, but I missed my throw here and I threw it too far from the runner, so he didn't hear it. I do notice, however, that he is fairly far away from the clicker that's in the middle, so I decide to instead sneak in and choke the runner. Then, later on I'll figure out how to deal with the clicker. Okay, 3 runners down, 1 clicker to go. Clickers are tougher than runners. You most definitely do not want to fight them with any other enemies because they do have an insta-kill move in which if they get close enough, they will grab you and bite you in the neck and rip your aorta with their teeth. Yeah, it's pretty gruesome. Clickers are also immune to choking and punching, so yeah, don't try that. You can also shoot them if you want, although they are pretty resilient, as you'll see here, so expect to use a few bullets if you decide to go that route. It's important to note that clickers are blind, however, since they do have a layer of fungus kind of growing in their eyes, so keep that in mind. They can still hear you though, even if you're crouching, so when you're next to them, try to move very, very slowly. Tap your left trigger ever so slightly, and that way you'll move very slowly. That being said, you can still sneak in on them if you're careful, and use a shiv on them to kill them automatically, which I'll talk about in a bit. Remember, choking doesn't work, so don't even try it. In here we have another section shortly after the one we just completed. This one is mostly populated with clickers with about 3 runners here and there. The objective here is to try to find the exit. You don't have to kill everyone if you don't want to. I'll show you guys where the exit is at the end of the video if you're interested. I'll take this opportunity though to talk about the items that are at your disposal, which you will see me collect here. You have health packs to heal yourself and objects that you can throw. You can only grab one at a time, either a brick or a glass bottle. The brick is usually better since you can stun enemies with it if you hit them in the head, but either one works fine for distracting enemies. Also, melee weapons, which work the same way, you can only carry one at a time. Either a pipe or a wooden stick. The pipe, of course, has more durability, so you can swing that weapon and hit enemies with it more times, before it breaks. You can see the durability if you check on the bottom right corner of the screen next to the weapon icon. It shows you a dotted line of how many hits it has before, it breaks. We also have guns, of course, different types, pretty straightforward. They are loud and have very, very limited ammo, so do be mindful of that if you decide to use them. There are a few other items you can find which don't exactly go into your inventory but are materials that you can combine to form new items. You have gears, which allow you to upgrade your weapons for a certain amount. There's an upgrade bench shortly after this section if I'm not mistaken, so if you want to upgrade your weapons, you'll soon get your chance. I do show you how to find 50 gears in this particular clip if you're interested. They're inside a safe that you have to open. You have other random materials you can find, water bottles, bandages, scissors, things like that. These allow you to create new items by combining them. You can gather these very early on, but the actual combining feature doesn't become available until a little bit later. So early on, try to just focus on gather these materials so that you can use them for later. When combining becomes available, you can make more health packs if you need them. You can also make a shiv, which is a tiny blade that lets you insta-kill enemies after you grab them. But they break after every use. They are really good for killing stealthily since they're more silently than just choking an enemy, so do keep that in mind. With shifts, you can also unlock secret doors, so make sure you always carry some of them with you just in case. The other item you can make is a Molotov cocktail, which is pretty much this game's version of a grenade. You throw it, it explodes in an area and lights enemies on fire, just like a grenade. It's very loud, obviously, so watch out. In here, I just go back to the beginning of the area, sorry about that. I just wanted to give you a better perspective of where the exit is. From the very beginning, just go alongside the right wall from where you start, past the 2 stores that you will see, and eventually you'll get to a ladder that you can use. You'll see the exit sign at the top that kind of indicates you where you have to go. You do have to incapacitate a clicker before you can climb the ladder, but it shouldn't be a problem, I'm sure. For now, let me talk about a few tricks that you can use in certain situations. If you happen to get noticed by an enemy and you see, the entire gang coming for you, don't panic. Of course, you can always restart from the last checkpoint from the pause menu if you want, but you don't have to do that. Try running away from where you were found. Hold the left trigger 2 button to run. And while you keep holding it, try to get to the other end of the room. Find a hiding spot and try to wait there for a little bit until things calm down. Enemies, in this case the human variety that are shooting at you, will have a hard time actually hitting you while you're running, so that's another plus. Also, for clickers, like in this situation, what you can do is that you can stand still for a few seconds. If you notice a clicker that suddenly, stops next to you and starts making all this clicking sounds, kind of going apeshit a little bit, just stand still and wait for a bit. If they do notice you, however, get ready to just run and hide. Again, insta-kill move, watch out. Okay, I think that pretty much covers it. I think for the most part this is all you need to know in order to get started and have an easier time with the earlier sections of the game. I guess as a summary I will add that it's important to focus on the stealth aspect of the game, always remember that. Ultimately you can always play any way you want, but you will probably have an easier time by sneaking by Again, this is an Uncharted. You are Nathan Drake, one-man army who can take down an entire platoon with a handgun, you know, things like that. Try to be thorough, collect any items you can without putting yourself in danger. You never know when you're gonna need them, so I would personally carry at least one melee weapon, one throwable weapon, and at least a few shifts at all times. And also try to pay attention to what your companions are saying. Sometimes they give you some backstory, but other times they actually tell you what you need to do. Like, for example, they'll walk by you and say, through here, or, oh, well, we're almost there. That kind of gives you more or less an indication of that you're going the right way. And I think with that, that's about it for today. Please like if you enjoyed this video. Please comment if you want to share anything I might have missed. I would love to read what you have to say. And also please subscribe if you would like to see more. Thanks for watching and enjoy.